Hi, welcome to the channel. This is Beyond Authentic Health and Beauty, and as you can see, we are very much on the beauty side today. My name's Lisa, and today's video is part 2 of my Makeup Revolution eyeshadow palette declutter and collection and declutter video. Now, I would say that this is a lot of makeup palettes, but these are all just my Revolution and Makeup Obsession. If you want to see the Revolution Pro, the XX Revolution and the iHeart Revolution, I'll put a link up in the corner up here to part 1 of this video. I mean, you know, you've got a lot of eyeshadow palettes when just your palettes from one brand takes up 2 fairly long videos. So yeah, I do have the high-end drawer to go through as well as the budget drawer. So all of that is still going to come, as well as every other part of my collection and declutter series. I'm going through everything. If that's something you like to watch, then please make sure you are subscribed. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so how I did part 1 was to show you the palettes and then swatch some of the shades and then make a decision as to whether or not they are staying in the collection, being decluttered, or going into a series where I will be using up some of my makeup in 2022. I'm going to be doing Team Project Pan. There'll be a video coming up explaining what that is. And I'm also going to have a separate eyeshadow series, because in Team Project Pan, I've decided not to put eyeshadow palettes in. I'm going to do that in a whole separate series coming up in 2022. So there's a lot of plans coming. But anyway, you're not here to hear me talk about my future plans. You're here to watch me swatch some makeup and decide whether or not it is staying in or leaving my collection. So that's what we're going to do. So then, first of all, we're going to go with the Makeup Obsession line. This is exclusive to Boots in the UK and also on the Revolution website. So yeah, if you haven't seen this, it may be simply because you don't shop at Boots. But anyway, let's crack on. We're going to start with the Love is Love palette. Now this instantly is going nowhere. I will swatch it, but I'll tell you why it's going nowhere: because it is a Pride palette, and I believe a portion of the money from this went to either the Switchboard or Trevor Project or something. I can't actually remember. Now, what I will say about this palette is that the shimmers are really good, because, you know, it's Revolution and they are very good quality on their shimmers. They've got one matte in this palette, but you know, we can live with that. So let me show you the shimmers that I'm talking about. That's the green, that's the sort of bluey shade, that's the orange matte, and then this is the pink shimmer. So yeah, as you can see, look at the reflect on that pink. That is absolutely lovely. Where's my makeup cloth? There we go. So they are absolutely lovely. They really, really are. But then you get into these, and they are just pressed glitters, and they're not the best. As you can see, they're really, really not the best. They sort of apply patchy like that. You really need a glitter glue. You really need something for them to stick to. Even putting them on top of an eye primer or on top of like a damp concealer or something, it just isn't enough. It just isn't. So I do like this palette for the other shades, for the foils, not for the glitters. But even if this was absolutely terrible, it's not going anywhere, because it's a Pride palette. I get their Pride palettes each year. I really, really enjoy the fact that Revolution do this for the LGBTQIA+ community. And yes, I know it's a marketing gimmick, but also I like the fact that, you know, there are some donations made. And so I will keep them, because each Pride month in June, I do like to do a Pride series, some series of different looks from the various palettes available. And yeah, so I keep them around. If nothing else, I keep them around for that. Next up, these are the 2 Halloween ones. They came out in 2020, I believe. The Take It to the Grave and the Creep It Real. This one might even have been a 2019 release, you know, looking at it. I know I've used this one a lot, not just for Halloween, because this is the one that has these really kind of swampy mustard, swampy kind of brown, that sort of orangey pumpkin shade as well is gorgeous. This is a really nice sort of slightly green toned grey shimmer. It's lovely. Let's do some swatches of these. You can see how much I've dug into this palette. This is one that was again available this year, and it's one that I do recommend that you maybe look out for, because if you like the colour story, if you like this sort of grungy kind of colour story, then I really do recommend it, because the quality has never let me down. And as I say, because it is themed as Halloween makeup, quite often after Halloween you can find it quite cheap, so I would totally recommend that you get it. I do think that that one is a duochrome, looking at it, because it's got a brown to grey reflect, which, there you go, look, you can just about see it there on camera. It's a lovely, lovely palette, and that again is going absolutely nowhere. This is the Creep It Real palette. I think I got this in 2020. You can see I barely used it. But for those of you that know me, you will know this palette absolutely speaks to me just for its colour story. A couple of basic browns, that's fine, not a problem. But this hot pink and this purple, I mean, they absolutely, this is my ideal colour combination. In fact, before we go on, because I've got, look how much glitter I'm covered, absolutely covered in glitters. But that's the hot pink, which is one of the best hot pinks that Revolution have ever done across any of their brands. And that's the sort of muted-y, purpley sort of toned shimmer. I really, really, really do like it. Let me just clean my fingers off and I'll do another couple of swatches for this palette. I mean, again, no spoilers here, but this palette's going nowhere either. Let's do that one, and let's do the matte. Let's do a matte brown, and just because, let's remind myself of the black. You see, it's just a good palette. The silver is absolutely phenomenal. I would say it's up there with the JSC silvers that he produces. I really, really, really love it. And again, this was a bargain palette. The one thing I would say is that you are fairly limited with this palette. The pink is very much the star of the show, along with the black. And then you've got the shimmers sort of backing it up. But you are fairly limited. But again, I do like the colour story. And that also is going nowhere. Next up, we'll look at these three. So we've got the Be Passionate About. This is one that I believe I picked up on Depop, just because it looked interesting. I knew there was a shade missing at the time. Having said that, looking at it now, I don't find it particularly interesting at all. This, again, look at me, always drawn to the purpley shade. I mean, that's quite a nice shade, this one. And we'll do a couple of the mattes just to kind of give you an idea. Right, let's have a look then. So we'll do that purple shade. It's like a, is it purple, is it brown? It looks, in some lights it looks purple, but that is actually a brown, isn't it? So yeah, that's a brown. I bet you're all there going, Lisa, are you blind? That's not a purple. Right, that's the sort of the champagne-y colour. That's a matte brown, a bit chalky to be fair. And then that's the matte sort of beige. Okay, I'm happy to let that one go and be decluttered actually. So yay, that's another one being decluttered. Next up, we've got the Black is the New Black, which I really, really, really like actually. So spoilers, unless this is going bad, I don't think this is going to be going anywhere, because it is a black. Ooh. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, this is going... Oh, that's a real shame. Maybe I can take a couple of the individual pans out. Or maybe I just need to give that a little bit of a clean up. Because look at the black. Look at how good that is. I'm not going anywhere near that chunky silver though. That has already gone everywhere, that chunky glitter shade. So let's just see. Let's see what we can do with these four. So then, that's the, see, look at the black shimmer. Look at that. It's stunning. That's the white, or sort of white with a silver reflect. That's the matte black. Super, super pigmented. And then that is the grey. I love these, and I'm not decluttering it. I'm going to clean up that black, and then I'm going to put it in one of the projects this year and get some use out of it, because I love this black palette. I love this colour story. You know, you've got these sort of brown shades. I think if I remember rightly, this is more of a duochrome. Yes, it is. Look at that. It's sort of a brown with a green reflect on it. It's absolutely lovely. And then that's the other one there, the mystery. Again, look at the quality of these. This is such a good palette. What if I can do one more? Did I do that one already? I did, didn't I? I did that one already. Yeah. I mean, it is a really, really good palette. Let's just swatch. I think there's only 2 or 3 that we haven't swatched, so we might as well do Mist and Cryptic and not doing that black, that silver. So that's what's that one? That's Cryptic, and that one then is going to be Mist, the white. So yeah, you can see it's a good quality palette. It really is. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to clean that one up, and then this will stay and be used in 2022. I will put it into one of my into one of the series, and I will make sure that I get some use out of this. So yeah, absolutely. And then next up we've got the Be In Love With. I think this is quite a, yeah, look at that colour story. I think this is quite a neutral colour story. Oh, let me look. Do I need another neutral palette? I don't. But again, quality wise, if I remember rightly, this was fairly decent quality as well. So maybe what I need to do is to further, once I've done the entire declutter and gone through my entire collection, maybe then I need to actually break it down even further and see, out of all of my palettes, if I have dupes and which ones I'm going to keep. So we were that one, and that one. So yeah, these ones here are from this palette. So not the same sort of standout quality. The shimmers are fantastic. The mattes are a little bit basic. So I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. I haven't looked at it. I haven't used it. It can go. It's a surprise. Surprising myself here with just how brutal I am actually being. So next up is the Sweet Like Candy palette. I've got to say, this I felt duped by, because the imagery, it looked like a large 9-pan. It looked like kind of something that I was going to be this size, but instead of it being a 16, you've got the larger square pans. That's what I was expecting. That's what we got. It's tiny. It's so small that it's difficult to even get your brushes in. It really, I mean, you know, you can't really get your finger in. Also, I've got to say, I mean, you can see just how much I've had to dig in to get some colour off. This one seems to be a little bit, maybe that's just starting to go over as well. But yeah, as you can see, like, the colour payoff isn't fantastic, and the size of the pans, I think this was just really done as a bit of a gimmick or for kids. I am really surprised that this wasn't an I Heart Revolution palette, to be honest with you. Not just in terms of quality, but in terms of sort of the gimmick of the size of it. I think it is just ridiculous. So that is also being decluttered. And then we've got possibly my favourite palette from Makeup Obsession of all time, and one of my very favourite Makeup Obsession palettes, and it is the So Dope palette. Anyway, this palette, when it came out at the same time as the Avocado palette from I Heart Revolution, and this, even if this was mouldy and crusty and dusty and nasty, it would be going nowhere, because this was one of the first times that I've ever compared and done a like-for-like comparison between two makeup palettes, and it's the first time I ever did a video that kind of had a little bit of minor success here on YouTube, and we're talking like it's still not even had 1,000 views, I don't think. But at the time when I just started the channel, this palette and the review of the Avocado one, again, I'll link it up here in the corner, this palette really did start getting a tiny bit of momentum for the channel, for the other channels. So yeah, absolutely 100% this stays in the collection for sentimentality reasons, but also, and I would say potentially more importantly, for the quality of the makeup itself, because it is just very good quality, or at least it was. Let's see if it still holds up now. I'm just wiping off my fingers. Right, here we go. So as you can see, the ones I dip into all the time are on the swampier side of things. We'll loosely kind of press that into place and try and take a little bit of shadow for that one. I mean, that's not going to work particularly well, is it? Because we're not doing a proper swatch. My fingers do not want to come clean after doing all of these swatches. Let's do a random shimmer, and let's do that lime colour, because I really do like that. Look at those colours. So then we go, that's the smoke one, which, all right, is crumbling, and probably needs repressing and you know, using the isopropyl alcohol on, but you get the idea. That's the what was that shade? That was the 420. Doesn't really swatch very well, but on the eye that actually looks really, really, really good. That is the grass shade, a really nice, funky, vibrant shimmer. And then this is that vibrant lime, almost a yellow, but that vibrant lime green. Now, I don't think I have a dupe for that. I would say anywhere in the collection. I have various olives and mint greens and things like that, but I don't think I have very much of this kind of neon lime green. So the palette is staying, and yeah, I love it. So yeah, totally recommend that one. If you ever see it, especially if it's ever in a sale or anything like that, pick it up. If you aren't sure of greens, if you were looking for other green palettes that might have came out in 2020 or whenever, and you didn't want to support certain brands, then absolutely this is a very, very good sort of offering instead. And in fact, I will do a comparison with this and the Blood Money palette and a few of the other greens. I'm going to do that at some point coming up once I've done the collection and declutter. The last one is the Rady Daydream palette. There was the Daydream and there was the, was it Rady Nights? I can't remember, but anyway, this is the one that spoke to me. You all know I like my bold colours. I like a good rainbow moment. I like a good, bright, colourful situation with my makeup. I have been doing a few more sort of toned down neutral looks recently over the last sort of few months, but even so, my general go-to makeup is quite big and bold and bright and colourful. So yeah, let's get into this palette then, shall we? Now this one here, this teal, is absolutely lovely. There's a hair or something just on there, but anyway, this teal is absolutely lovely. It really is a really good quality shadow. I'm going to use this finger. I have cleaned it off, but that broken shade in the other palette really is just, it's left me stained. But anyway, there you are. Look at that blue. Look how vibrant that is. That's a proper turquoise. This orange is calling to me. And then, do you know what? Just because I said about a lime green, we'll do this lime green. I know, right? There's a pink and a purple, and I didn't even go for them. Oh, I have also not swatched any of the shimmers from this palette. So maybe we'll go and do a shimmer now. But there you are. Look, this is giving you, and these aren't the best swatches, by the way. You know, my hands are getting a little bit sticky and yucky and covered in everything, but you can see, look at the quality. You can see the quality on this palette. I do think that the Makeup Obsession, I really do feel that Revolution had to up their game quality wise with these shadows. And again, when I compared the So Dope with the Avocado one, which was the I Heart Revolution sort of brand, you really do see the difference in the quality, and it really did come across as, you know, very obvious. One brand has a higher quality control than the other. So yeah, as you can tell, that palette also is going to go nowhere. So from the Makeup Obsession range, we are keeping 3, 4, 5, 6 palettes, and that means that 3 are being decluttered. Okay, so this is the last part of the Revolution range now. This is the standard Makeup Revolution side. This is what started it all. This is available in Superdrug in the UK and also online on their website and on places like Beauty Bay, Amazon. You can pick it up online from multiple retailers. So yeah. First of all, I'm going to do these 2 random palettes. This is the Party Ready palette. I believe that this was a free with purchase palette. Again, you can see, look how beautiful this color story is. You know what I'm about to say. Let's swatch the pink and the purple. we'll do the blue as well, and we'll do a shimmer. But that is very little of that is picking up, and I've just done that 3 times. So then let's show you. So that is the pink. Not great. The purple, oh god, also not great. I remembered this being better. That's the blue. Oh, I was saying in my head that I'm going to be keeping this. I'm going to have to lift that up so you can see. I was saying in my head I'm going to be keeping this palette, and because it's really good quality, but that isn't. So that is going in the declutter bag. Wow, surprising myself. And then let's move these because I'm getting a shadow. There we go. This is the Shook palette. Now this is the eyeshadow palette. There was also a face palette, I think a highlighting palette or something. Oh, now then, let's say this packaging, it sort of reminds me of the Conspiracy palette a little bit. It's got that same sort of vibe. I think that's what they were trying to go for with the shape, but obviously this is a very flat palette. Conspiracy is a casket. So yeah, also the word shook, this is a time, I think this came out not long after Dramageddon, and it just feels that they were trying to capitalize on all of that. Manny and Jeffrey and James and everybody were like, oh, I'm shook, I'm shook, I'm shooketh. And that word did the rounds for a bit, and then that created this palette. So yeah, it's not the best, I've got to say. Let's give you a couple of swatches. It's also this ridiculously small pan ones, which I can just about get my finger into, but then again, I know I have very large fingers. Here we go. Let's swatch you these 4 shades. That mint green, it's always these mint green shimmers that I'm drawn to, but that's really good. That's a matte sort of off pinky red sort of shade. That's that grey one, and then that was the other one there, wasn't it? There you go. So not bad at all in terms of quality. I've got to say though, I never ever reach for this. I just forget that it exists. I think because it's such a neutral colour story with a couple of pops of interesting colour. I mean, randomly, I just swatched, I think, the most interesting colours in the palette. So again, it's going to go straight in the declutter because, yeah, unfortunately, it's not one that sparks any kind of joy in me. I think it's nice. You know, the quality is there. It's not horrendous at all. It's not like there's a problem with the palette. It's just the colour story is a bit meh. This one, again, I don't think I've ever used. This is the Magzinska. This came, I think I got this for free. I can't remember. Again, there's so many different offers. It could have come in a lucky bag or a mystery bag, or it could have come from a, you know, free with purchase type situation. Again, I don't think I've even swatched it. No, it looks like I haven't even swatched it, to be honest. So let's just, oh, that's where the magnets are. I was thinking, I was like, what's that on the corner? But that's just the magnets for the enclosure. So yeah, there we are. That's what the palette looks like. That's going in the declutter. I've never used it. I've had it for probably a year or more. So that is also going to go and be instantly decluttered. Right, let's go through these ones here. So we've got the Revolution Iconic Smoky palette. So this I've written on the back is a dupe for the Urban Decay Naked Smoky palette. And I think, yeah, I would agree with that. But just to give you an idea, let's swatch a couple of the shades. Again, it's a bit difficult with this palette because the pan size, it's that, let's be really, really interesting and do these sort of bizarre shaped, I mean, it's not bizarre, is it? But like, why do that? Why not just make them twice as wide, half as long, and double, you know, double road? That would make much more sense in terms of usability. But anyway, there you go. You know, nothing amazing, not a particularly bad palette, not a particularly good palette. Again, it's one I completely forget about every single time, so that can go in the declutter pile. Next, we've got the Reloaded Midnight palette. I believe this came in last year's advent calendar. I think it's a really pretty palette, actually. I don't reach for it, and I don't necessarily know why. I don't know whether the quality wasn't there. Sometimes in some of the palettes that you get for their advent range, it is really hit or miss in terms of quality. So let's just remind myself. You see, actually, that looks really good. they look really good. All 4 of those shades have swatched really nicely. The sort of the shimmers and the matte. I'm going to have to put that to one side and put that in my in one of my series actually, and remind myself to try and use it. I do quite like the colour story. I do think it's a little bit limited, but if I was going for sort of slightly more violets and slightly more mauves, I think that would be a really lovely option. So yeah, I do need to put that in a palette series and actually give it some love. Right, this next one is the Reloaded Basic Mattes. I've got a feeling, you know, that I haven't even swatched this. No, it looks like I have swatched it, but that'll be all. Again, it's the colour story, and you know me, these basic shades is just not what excites me. And so therefore, without doing any more swatches, putting any more oils onto it or anything like that, that is going to go in the declutter as well. This one equally instantly being decluttered. This came in a collection, which is why it's still got its little box. It's the Matte Neutrals Shadow Palette. And again, that is going to go straight into the declutter. I haven't opened it and used it at this point. I've got so many palettes that I can get rid of that and not miss it. This one is a dupe for the KVD Shade and Light. I'm keeping this one for the sake of doing dupes and things. So yeah, that one is staying. Next up is the Reloaded Visionary palette. This is a dupe for the ABH Norvina palette. You can tell that instantly by the colour story and by, you know, the choices that are in here. It's a very cool tone palette. I do like it. It's not an exact dupe for the ABH Norvina because ABH Norvina has 12 shades. This has 15. So there you go. But I think it's not a bad version of it, or not a bad dupe. So let's go for this pink, this purple. We'll kind of do the mattes today, I think. We'll just do that one shimmer from the pink. So quality-wise, let's show you. That's the pink shimmer. That's the purple, very lackluster, that purple. That's the brown, or one of the browns, and that's the paler brown. So yeah, you know, the pigmentation is there largely. Let's see if I can build that purple up a little bit, because I am sure that it's behaved much better than that in the past. Yeah, there you are. It just takes a little bit of building up. You find that sometimes with purple shadows, but that is not too bad at all. Again, if you like the Norvina colour story, but you're not sure whether you want to spend ABH prices, if you kind of like the layout or you like the colours in this particular palette and you don't care about ABH, you could go a lot worse than this palette. I am keeping it in the collection because, as I say, as it is a dupe, at some point I will do a comparison with the Norvina palette. I don't think I own that one. I don't think I do. But again, this is what happens when you've got so many makeup palettes. But again, as I say, that's going nowhere for now, but you could do a lot worse than this palette. Also, you're going to know this is also not going anywhere. I used this in a look that went up on the channel this week, and yeah, it's the Reloaded Blackout palette. It's one of my favorite monochromatic palettes of any brand ever. It really is. I mean, if you took this sort of gold one out and this sort of browny coppery sort of shade out, then it is a really lovely monochromatic palette. So let me do you a couple of swatches. This is a good black, this is a sparkly black, this is a silver, and we'll do a matte grey. So those are the shades on my fingers. I've used this numerous times to do various looks on the channel. So yeah, as you can see, absolutely, it's a really lovely palette. Going nowhere. It's less than £10 on the Revolution website, or it might be £10. I think these Reloaded ones largely are £5 or £6, but do double check wherever you are and check on the Revolution website. And these are the ones that you often find in deals on sales and things. These are the ones you often find reduced as well, so you can probably pick it up even cheaper. But yeah, recommend that one, 100% recommend that one, and that is going nowhere. Right, let's do these ones in the boxes because it's going to take a little while to unbox, and then we'll come to the others. First of all, this one isn't in a box. It's the Revolution Creative palette, and this was sent to me. So it's going to go nowhere, even if it's one that I don't reach for. I do like to keep the palettes that I am sent by people. This was sent by a subscriber, by the way, not in PR, because, you know, I don't get PR from Revolution. However, Revolution, if you want to hook a girl up, you know what I mean. I like your quality, let's just put it there. So then, these are the ones that I've just randomly picked to swatch. We've got apparently 2 yellows. I don't know why I did that, I was talking. So that's the hot pink, that's the yellow shimmer. It really is a yellow shimmer, not a gold. I love, love, love that. That's the yellow matte. Their yellows are a little bit hit and miss, to be fair, but over a eye primer or over even a little bit of concealer, they work. And then that is going to be the very, very soft baby pink, which on my skin, it looks so close to my skin tone that you're just not going to pick that up. But it is a decent enough shade. So yeah, that is staying. The Revolution Pride Proud of My Life palette. This is another one that is going nowhere. Again, it's the small pans. I was a little bit confused as to how this is a Pride palette, because it doesn't have the Pride colours in, but you know, it's okay. I mean, it is quite similar looking at it now to the creative one. It is really similar. I mean, yeah, a very, very similar colour story. Let's just then swatch. Let's swatch this blue as well. I don't know whether I've got, oh yeah, I've got a couple of shimmers and things and a couple of mattes. Some of these are more topper shimmers rather than sort of, you know, the all-out proper metallic shimmers that Revolution is quite known for. So let's do a comparison with the quality. That's the green shimmer. Look at that. Look at that. That's the dark green. That's the sort of red hot pink colour. And then this is the, I would say this is more of a topper shade, that purple right at the end. Although on camera, that's actually picking up quite nicely. That's interesting. In person, it looks a lot more wishy-washy, to be fair. But there you go. Again, this palette's not going to go anywhere. It's a Pride palette. And even if it's not one that I reach for when Pride season comes around, you know, it's just part of my makeup collection. I am going to have a dedicated drawer that is just my sort of makeup history, makeup collection, the palettes that I don't necessarily want to use, but I also am not ready to declutter. This is the original Flawless palette. It is, isn't it? It just is. I mean, it almost reminds me, if it was larger, it would look like a Morphe palette, except, you know, we get a mirror. It's very, very shimmers. It's very shimmer heavy and micro glitters and all of that. There's very, very few mattes in here. So then we'll do this one, because that's just for some reason calling out to me. Look at that. That is so beautiful. We'll do this cream. We'll do a random one, and we'll do this cool tone sort of silvery greyish there. So then let's have a look. We've got the, oh, look at it. You see, they are just like butter. And again, I know I've got neutral palettes that I've kept, but just for the sake of how good this is, like, I can't declutter this at this point. It might not be a palette that I reach for all the time. It might not be something that sparks a lot of joy in me, but the quality is just absolutely there. Having said that, I am talking myself out of keeping it now. I tell you what, look, I've got the Flawless Matte one as well. Now this says similar to JSC Orgy, which I almost picked up. It was on their 12 days of Christmas deals and I almost picked it up. But look, side by side, you can see they're really complementary. You've got completely mattes and then a few mattes with, you know, mainly shimmers on this palette. So let's see if we can get the dupes then. So that's kind of very similar, or at least it's in the same position and similar color story to that one. So yeah, that's not bad. Then where did we go? We went down here somewhere, didn't we? This one here. Now obviously this is going to be a very different toned matte to that shimmer. I mean, yeah, these I would say, let's go with this one. I mean, Oh, I'm really, no, do you know what we're going to do is we are going to declutter the mats, because I don't really reach for it. So the mats can go, and I will keep the shimmers. That's what we're going to do with that. This is the Fierce palette. This is the Wild Animal palette in the shade Fierce. There was Fierce and Courage and I think a couple more. And this is just my sort of hot orangey, gorgeous sort of summer into autumn palette. I love this for that. These shades are really, really nice, really pigmented, and they are, I just think they're lovely actually. A bit of similarity when you actually use them on the eye. So there's a couple of redundancies in here you're probably going to see now, like that shade and that shade, although technically this is much more of a tangerine and that other one's more of a sort of hot pinky orange, if that makes sense. But there are some redundancies on the eye, certainly with the shimmers. Some of them appear quite similar, but for a warm tone, orangey based sort of story, I really like the colour story. I really like it. It's going nowhere. I like the quality. I really, really, really do. Also, a palette that is going nowhere. This is one of my favourite Revolution palettes of all time. I have had this palette probably, maybe even getting on for 3 years now, 2 or 3 years, at least 2 years. As I say, probably getting on for 3. It's the Jack palette. So Jack is a YouTuber, and this was his collab palette with Revolution, and I've got to say it is absolutely, you can see how well loved it is. It is well loved, well used. I like this because it's laid out in 4 different quadrants, so each of these sections is a little look in and of itself. I also quite like the fact that Jack personally doesn't like a green, so he didn't put a green in, which is really cool. But he has the 2 primary shades next to each other, that blue and that yellow down here, which absolutely you can mix together. And look, just on my finger, you know, I've now got a green. Look at that. Look at that. It's absolutely, it's so clever, this palette. It's so clever. It really is. The foils, the shimmers are just buttery. They really are. They're sort of a really nice shimmer with some micro glitters in some cases. So again, look at the reflect on that. Absolutely gorgeous. What we found so far today in swatching all of these across both of the videos is that quite often with Revolution, the shimmers are great, but the mattes let them down. So let's try the mattes. We'll do this lovely rust colour. We'll do the purple, because purples are notoriously hard, as are yellows. And then let's do, what else should we do? Let's do this pinky peachy shade here as well. So there we go. Those are the 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There you are. You can see the mattes are holding up just as much as the shimmers. Yeah, some of them, like that purple, you do need to build up a little bit to get a true color payoff, but it's definitely there. That is going nowhere. I really like it. I also really like the fact that the packaging was a little bit cheeky and similar to the James Charles Morphe palette. But yeah, so then on to the next sort of subsection within a subsection. Then we'll go to my Forever Flawless palettes. I do have another one. When I was looking these out, somewhere I have the We Are Love, or Love is Love palette, which was last year's Pride palette from Revolution, but that doesn't seem to be here right now, but it's very similar to this Bird of Paradise one here, this one. Anyway, this is going nowhere. It's the Forever Flawless Ice palette. It's the dupe for the JSC Blue Blood, and it's such a good dupe, such a good dupe. It really, really is. If you like the Blue Blood colour story, but you don't want to support Jeffrey, or you just don't want to pay £52 for a palette, this is a very, very, very strong alternative. And again, I've had this since it came out on release, and look at how those colors hold up. I mean, that one there, you can see it reflecting. It's very, very similar, in fact, to my skin tone. But look how they hold up. It's absolutely lovely. It really is a good quality palette on its own, but also a very good dupe for Blue Blood. I am going to, you know, use some of the palettes like this where I have the original from the higher end brand and actually do a like for like comparison. I haven't got around to doing that yet, but I am going to be doing that in February. February is going to be dupes month on my channel, so yeah. Anyway, that's going nowhere. The Bird of Paradise or Birds of Paradise palette, this just, again, I mean, you know this is going nowhere. When I open it up and it's just all of the rainbow, all of the Skittles in one palette. That is pretty much what this is. Right, so we'll start off with the thing that I like the least from the palettes, which is the pressed glitters. And then because we've had so many issues with purples, we'll go with a purple. We'll go with a lime green, because I do like my lime greens, as you know. And then should we do a yellow as well? Because some of the yellows have been hit or miss today. So let's go through the, I mean, you know, I already know what I'm going to say. The purple's pretty good. The green takes a bit of building, to be fair. It does take a bit of building, but it's definitely buildable, but it is on the more sort of the less opaque side, shall we say. The yellow, pretty good. I don't know whether that's picking up on camera too well, but the yellow's there. And then the pressed glitters. I mean, that is all the glitter that you're ever going to need in an eyeshadow if you like the blue. It's going to be one that I'm going to try and use in 2022 and make my opinion on, because I genuinely don't reach for it an awful lot, which is surprising because it has got that bright rainbow shades that I love. So you would think that it would be one I go for. The Unconditional Love by Forever Flawless. This is, I've written down, the Natasha Denona Love palette. So this is obviously a bit of a dupe for that. This has not even been used. I think I have swatched it, just looking at that one shade there. I'm not even sure that I've swatched more than maybe one or two colours. I think I've only swatched a couple of the shimmers and maybe one of the mattes looking at them. I was about to say I'm keeping it because it is a dupe, but to be honest with you, I'm never going to own the Natasha Denona Love palette, so I'm never going to be able to do a side-by-side comparison. And this is not something I have ever used or reached for. And I have more, it's going. I'm decluttering it. I am officially removing the dupe sticker. There we go. So it's no longer being kept for the dupe purposes, and that is going in the declutter. Wow, that's surprising. That is surprising. Oh my god. Next up, the Forever Flawless Enchanted palette. This one is staying, 100% staying. This was the first collab that I ever did with Kirsty, who has gone on to become the Kitchen Witch and gone on to become one of my closest friends. So yeah, and also my business partner. Just phenomenal human being. And this palette was the first collab that we did where we both got the same palette and created different looks. And yeah, I think it's a really lovely palette. Even if it wasn't a decent palette, it would be staying for sort of makeup memory purposes. But it is a decent palette after all. So very muted, very sort of grungy, very Halloween-y, which is what you would expect. Look at the, just look again, look at the shimmers, look at Revolution's shimmers. I mean, how anybody can ever say that Revolution doesn't know what they're doing in terms of shimmers. Their mattes, not always the best, as you can see, like a little bit patchy, but their shimmers are just beyond. They really are. They are very, very, very good quality shimmers. So yeah, we are down to the last 7 palettes. Oh my god, this video is taking so long to film. We are already over an hour filming this time round, and it was nearly the same length of time on the first part of this video. So, you know, right, these are the neon shadow palettes. Now, these were a dupe for the Huda Beauty neons, but they are bigger and they don't have the same amount of payoff. And also I've got to say Revolution was so cheeky because they've got a lime green clear acrylic lid that when you look through the green, everything pops, and then you open it up and look at that centre green. Look how green that is. And then you open it and it's like, oh yeah, it's green. Like very green, sort of green. So yeah. Right, let's do a swatch of this one. I can tell you already that this is going to go nowhere from the collection because I am going to do a green palette comparison. And I've got another one just there as well. So that's probably not going anywhere either. But I am going to compare my sort of green palettes. Now, again, what was I just saying? Look, shimmer's fantastic. The mattes, just no. But for the sake of the green video that is coming up, I am going to keep eye of it until then. And then, to be honest, it probably will get decluttered. I will try and make it work on the eyes, maybe using a eye primer and things like that, putting it over a wet base, using a damp brush, all of the tricks. I am going to try all of the tricks and see what I can get from that. But yes, this is the Not a Dream one. This is the orange one. I do reach for this sometimes in summer. It is very, very good, or at least it historically has been very good. Did I just... Yeah, I did just pick up the wrong shade there, but never mind. And we'll do this sort of pinky one. So I've just got the mattes now, because we know the shimmers are going to be good. So these are the mattes. That's the tangerine orange. That's the darker orange that I did mix. Yes, Eddie. That's the one I messed up. That's the sort of vibrant orange. And then that's the sort of more pinky tone corally one. Again, not there. So I'm decluttering it. I don't need that for a video. That can go in the declutter. And this last one is the Electric Dreams one, which is the yellow version. Oh wow, that has crumbled and broken. So that also, without even looking at it, I know the quality. And do you know what? I'm decluttering that one as well. So this brings me on to my last 4 palettes, and these are the colour book palettes. There is a 5th one, which is the neutral sort of nude palette, and that just doesn't speak to me at all. So these are the 4 colour stories that I really go for. If you don't know what the colour books were, I think they are all still available. They are basically a double-sided palette with no mirror, but what they have is a double side. So one side is mattes and one side is shimmers. Now again, I can't get this one. I can never get them open without breaking a nail or something. I think this one, this orange and red one, is the newest one that I've picked up. So that's why it probably looks the least used. But yeah, you can see the colour stories. Very simple. But I love the fact that on both sides of the palettes, they are pretty much the same shade, but in a matte or a shimmer version. And I love that. You can see of the 4 palettes, this one has had the most use. I'm going to swatch you. I'll do you 2 colours from each palette. One of the mattes, and then you flip this over, and we'll do the corresponding shimmer as well. So that's what we've got with the green and blue palette. Let's do that. We've got the limes. You know I like my lime greens. Yes, Mr. Eddie. So there we go. We've got those 2 there. And then I'm going to swatch you from the purple palettes. Let's go for this deep purple shade here, because again, we know that purples are notoriously difficult. It really is a sort of eggplant type, aubergine type colour. So the matte there, it's definitely there, but I do think it's one of those ones that you need to build. And to be honest, the shimmer completely out punches the matte, but it is a lovely shade. I'll tell you what, let's do a pink as well. Let's do this one here in the left hand side, 2nd row. So let's do a pink. So here we go. That's the matte, and that's the shimmer for the pink. You see that they work. They just work. And again, you can see the reflect in the pinks there. Absolutely lovely. What else then? What should we swatch from this one? We'll do we've been doing yellows, haven't we? So we'll do a yellow here, and we'll do an orange. Which we'll do this coral. That's quite a nice, bright, vibrant matte. And then over to the shimmers, where we've got the yellow, and then it was that one there, wasn't it? There's the coral. So let's go. Matte yellow, shimmer yellow. So those are very, very similar. And then the coral matte, that's beautiful, that one. And then the shimmer next to it, absolutely beautiful. The quality on all four of these is very, very good. And just to show you the black and white one, or the black, white and grey, let's go for this. We'll go for this sort of grey tone here, and we'll do this one here, and then just flip the little protective plastic sheet. There we go. And it was this grey one here, and then was it this one? I think it was. So there we go. So then we'll do the matte grey and the shimmer. So again, maybe it's just the way I'm swatching them, but that doesn't look particularly great payoff, but you know, it is there. And then we'll do the almost black. So there's the matte and there's the shimmer there. I feel that I did a disservice to that first palette, so I'm going to take a blue, and then you've pretty much got the entire, let's go with a denim blue. We've done the sort of bright blues and the turquoises in other palettes, so we'll do that denim blue there. There you go. Look, it really is a sort of denim-y shade. There's that blue, and there's the shimmer. So yeah, you can see these palettes, like the mattes and the shimmers, are very, very good quality. So these also are going nowhere. So there we go. Of the entire Revolution range across both of the videos, I am decluttering 24 palettes just from Revolution. I think that is bonkers. Like, that just shows you how many Revolution palettes I've got. It just shows you how big and extensive my collection became. It was a bit overwhelming, a bit unwieldy, and at least this is beginning to knock it into some sort of shape. There are some other palettes. Oh, Eddie just nearly knocked the camera over. But there are some other palettes that I am going to be testing and then deciding on their future. But for now, that is the Revolution collection. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down in the comments section. If you like this video, please give it a massive thumbs up. That really helps me out with YouTube's algorithm. And of course, if you want to see the rest of the Collection and Declutter series, make sure that you have subscribed to the channel, ding your bell, and then change your notifications to all. That way YouTube should notify you each and every time I upload a video. I'm probably not going to film the next part of the collection series for a day or two, because my poor arm has been swatched so many times and cleaned so many times. I am covered in glitter and I am covered in colour. So yeah, probably going to be a couple of days before I film the next one. But I will be filming my entire collection and releasing it between now and early January. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned for that. But there we are. And as we always say, stay you, stay safe, stay authentic, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Eddie says goodbye as well.